Hey, welcome to Tracy Talks to You. By the way, the 2U is my personal tribute to U2, my favorite band. Anyway, before we were in Washington, D.C., now we're back home. This is our living room. And today I'm going to talk to you about creating a legacy for your children, your grandchildren, or great-grandchildren, and finding out the legacy that your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents have left to you. And we're going to start talking about that with this little item here, which is called the digital camera. I'm sure all of you own one of these. And with our digital camera, we took so many photos, as I know you did, especially when they first came out. You'd take like 500 photos of one event. And you have to go through to find the best photos. It took forever, and then you never actually got them printed, so they're in cyberspace somewhere, and you don't really get to look at them because they're not around. Like the old-timey photo books, you would have a photo book, have the pictures in it, and be able to look at it, right? But they're huge, they're big, they're heavy. This one's from the 80s when I was a teenager. It's broken down, falling apart. The plastic sticks to the photos and everything. So this is kind of the archaic way of having photo albums. Nowadays, I'm sure as many of you know, there is what's called the wonderful, the sleek, the amazing photo book. And it has all the photos on the front. It has pictures inside of different events, and it's just like having a book. And it's wonderful, and you can write words in it, and it's like slimline, can go right on your bookshelf. It's great. So what I did is I went online, so you can go to like Flickr.com or Ophoto.com, Kodak.com. These are Kodak.com books. You can actually put pictures on the front, which is awesome. A little photo on the back. They're filled with photos. And so since I had so many years of photos, these are two books that stretch from 2002 to 2007. So that's a lot of years in a couple books, just to kind of get caught up. But then what I do now, and this was my idea for my sister, thanks Pam, is I take one book, and this is from Flickr, because I picked Flickr because you can have unlimited pages. And this is my family, but I don't want you to see them too close because that's private. But this book is the whole year of 2008. So at the end of the year 2008, I sat down for one day, just spent the day just making the photo album online, picking all the best pictures, putting all the birthday pictures together, putting the beach pictures together, so it kind of tells the story of our year. And then boom, this is our family's year. Done. It's way better than all of this stuff that we used to do. So I encourage you guys to do this. A lot of you online YouTube probably already are. So I have another idea, and that is, what I'm doing now is I'm calling my grandmother, who's 93 years old. She lives in Washington, D.C., right outside Washington, D.C. now, in Maryland, in a little retirement home. And I call her and talk to her about her stories. And what I do is I go online. I'm not online. I go on the computer, and as I'm talking to her, I put on speakerphone, and I ask her questions like, what's the most famous person you ever met? And she'll tell me about how she used to ride horses in Washington, D.C. back when there was countryside in the city. And with Eleanor Roosevelt would ride the same day, and she'd see her and say hello. And I mean, that's just incredible, you know. And these are all things, there's lots of stories, but I don't know the details. So I'll call her and listen, and I'll type. And she'll tell me these great stories. And I'm kind of working on her memoirs, really. And really, in 3 conversations, I had about 3 pages. And what I'd like to do is do a photo book full of her stories, because you can write in here as well, and pictures of her. And that would be so great to pass down to my kids and grandkids. Because the truth is, you know, this might be around 200 years from now. My great-great-great-grandchildren may be able to look at this photo book and see what we did. I mean, wouldn't that be neat if we could do that with our relatives from way back, know where they were, who they were, what they did? Because sometimes knowing that, who they were, it kind of helps you understand who you are. There's this new show on TV now called Who Do You Think You Are? And it has famous people going back into their history and finding out things. I think that's just such a cool thing. Yeah, because really, your family has a legacy. Like, I know my husband's great-great-grandfather, great-great-great-grandfather was a circuit rider preacher, O.L. Galloway. He'd ride in the Old West his horse from church to church to preach. And his grandson was like a youth minister, worked with the teens and at teen camps. And then my husband was, my husband's father started New York City Relief that works with the homeless and helps the homeless in New York City. Now my husband does that as well. And my grandfather started a church, a Lutheran church in Falls Church, Virginia. And his father preached at the mission in D.C. So there's all this history of our family, like, knowing the Word of God in the Bible and applying it to their life. And it's been like a blessing to our family passed down, which has been great. And I want to pass down the same blessings to my kids. I thought about this song by Sarah Groves called Generations. It's inspired by Deuteronomy 11:26 and 28 in the Bible. Let me just read that to you real quick, and you can let me know if I'm running out of time. I've brought you today to the crossroads of blessing and curse. The blessing, if you listen obediently to the commandments of God, your God, which I command you today. The curse, if you don't pay attention to the commandments of God, your God, but leave the road that I command you today, following other gods of which you know nothing. And so there's a blessing and a curse for your life and for your children's lives and your grandchildren and great-grandchildren, depending on the choices you make for your life now. So the song, how's my time? Okay, good. I think I can get it in. It says, I can taste the fruit of Eve. I'm aware of sickness, death, and disease, which I am. The result of her choices were vast. Eve was the first, but she wasn't the last. If I were honest with myself, had I been standing at that tree, my mouth, my hands would be covered with fruit. Things I shouldn't know and things I shouldn't see. Remind me of this with every decision. Generations will reap what I sow. I can pass on a curse or a blessing to those I will never know. And all of the things I'm capable of in my search for acceptance, wisdom, and wealth, to say the devil made me do it is a cop-out and a lie. The devil can't make me do anything when I'm calling on Jesus Christ. And then it says at the end, and this is the part I remembered and made me think of the song, to my great-great-great-granddaughter, live in peace. To my great-great-great-grandson, live in peace. Because one day, who knows? They might even see this show. And that would be cool. So I'm going to call my grandmother because I wanted to work on her memoirs tonight and learn more about her life and the legacy she's leaving for me and my family. And I really look forward to being a grandmother one day. And I hope that I can be Hi, yes. Can I speak, please, with Mrs. Kronenberg? Yeah, you did, and I asked for the number, and I just dialed it, and here we are. So, could you connect me, please? No. Oh. Okay, if you could check on that, that would be great, and then I'll try to call her tomorrow. Thank you. All right, thanks. Bye. Well, that didn't work out as I planned, but that's okay. If she would have answered, she would have said, oh, Tracy, it's so good to hear from you. I love you so much. And I'd ask her about when she was young, and she would say, oh, I remember the day. And I would just type away her memoirs. So this is something you can do if you like, and I think it'll bring you a lot of joy to have special memories for your family, for your life, and feel generations of blessing in your family. So, have a great day. Thanks for coming to visit. I really appreciate you watching. I hope you subscribe, and I have more to come. Take care, and God bless.